Hi, I'm Dan Palomino with Keller Williams Realty Maui, Big Island, and the Hawaii team. Today we're starting a new series here on our YouTube channel about relocating to Hawaii. What's it like to relocate to Hawaii? Everybody's thought of it. They say, wouldn't it be great if we could just sell our business, quit our jobs, whatever the case may be, throw caution to the wind and move to Hawaii and the island life that we've always wanted? What's that like? What are all the factors? What are all the things you have to consider? Well, today is part one, so I hope you enjoy this series. And part one is really just the basics. Let's start with employment. Like, I'm guessing that if you've made the decision to move to Hawaii, you've nailed down the employment part of this. And, you know, the options are, A, I'm gonna keep my job on the mainland because I can work remotely from anywhere, and that's why I'm gonna come to Hawaii. Or B, I'm leaving my job and I've been offered a new job at a company in Hawaii. Or C, maybe there's some different type of variation. You're starting a business, you're retiring, you don't know exactly what you're doing, but you're coming anyway. So I'm going to trust that you've nailed down the employment part of this. Now keep in mind, one of the things that happens quite often is people think, well, I can work remotely from anywhere, and they really fail to take in the time difference. A friend of mine was an accountant from North Carolina, and his client was in North Carolina, his primary client. And so there was a 6-hour difference, and getting up very, very early in the morning to work the hours of this particular company was very hard to do. And after about 2 years, it became too much and was very draining. And that happened also with the pandemic, by the way. There was a bunch of people who came here from New York and rented houses and stayed here during the pandemic, and they worked on Wall Street and they were getting up at 3 in the morning, and they found that didn't work all that well. So again, I'm leaving the employment part up to you. The next thing to do is to figure out which side of the Big Island do you want to live on. Do you want to live on the Hilo side, which is the wet side of the island, or do you want to live on the Kona side, which is the dry side of the island? The Hilo side's the east side, the Kona side is the west side. We're considerably drier than the Hilo side. The Hilo side is one of the wettest places on the planet, but it is very beautiful. I mean, people email us all the time and say, well, look at this home. Look how beautiful and green and lush it is. Well, there's a reason for that. There's a lot of rain. So you gotta like rain if you're going over to Hilo. The next step is to decide what your residency is gonna be here. Are you moving here full-time? Is it a full-time residency? Are you gonna be here part-time? You're just gonna come like a vacation home and stay when you want and then lock it up when you leave? Or are you looking for an income property, like a short-term vacation rental that you can rent when you're not here? Figure out what type of residency you're thinking about. And the reason why I tell you that is it's gonna dictate what type of property you buy, right? Short-term vacation rentals are only in the short-term vacation rental zones. And so that limits us on where we can look. But if you're coming here as a full-time resident and it's gonna be your primary resident, then we're gonna look more towards like primary subdivisions, like the one I live in, Hualalai Vistas or Kona Hills. And then if you're gonna be here sometimes and you don't really care if you rent it, well, that opens up a whole nother possibilities across this whole west side of the island. So figure out what type of residency that you're looking for. Next, find a good realtor, like us at the Hawaii team, right? I mean, find somebody who really knows the island. They know all of the subdivisions, they know all of the resorts, they know all of the nooks and crannies, and they can advise you on what it's like to buy here, right? Because the Hawaii contract is unique, and there's things specific to the state of Hawaii, taxes and fees, that you're gonna need to know. And the process is different here. I gotta be honest with you, I was 23 years in Denver, and the buying and selling process here is vastly different from what happened in Hawaii. So find somebody who's really good, who knows what they're doing, and can be a good advisor for you. Budget. Let's talk about budget. Wants and needs, right? There's wants and needs, and then there's what you can afford. So make sure you're really clear about what's your max number. Dan, I can go up to 2 million, I can go up to 2.5 million, whatever the case may be, and then tell us what your wants and needs are, and let's see if those two things match up. Let's find out if there's properties that match that criteria and that budget. And then there's financing, of course, right? How are you financing this purchase? Most people say, well, I'm getting a loan, but what you need to know is that a lot of lenders, a lot of mainland lenders do not lend in Hawaii. And that's okay, because we've got lenders here that we can refer you to that will do a loan for you. But people say, well, I want to leverage my relationship on the mainland with my bank. Well, you can do that, but just make sure a couple of things. Number one, that they'll loan in Hawaii. That's your first question. Number two, will they loan on a condo in Hawaii if you decide to go that route? Most won't. And will they loan on a condo with transient accommodations if you're looking to buy an income property? Because a lot of banks don't like that combination. They don't like Hawaii, they don't like condo, and they don't like it to be used as an STVR. So be sure. Otherwise, we can connect you with a local lender here. Next, are you comfortable with buying virtually? Because that's probably what's going to have to happen. You'll see something that comes up on email that we sent you. You'll like it. We'll run down there. We'll put you on FaceTime or Zoom. We'll give you a virtual tour, and then you'll most likely have to make a decision or get on a plane real fast to come out and see it. But that's okay. You can buy it virtually and then get on a plane because we usually have at least a 2-week due diligence period where during that period you can come out and take a look at the house. Finally, closing. Don't worry if you're back on the mainland in your hometown. Closings are all done remotely these days, and so we'll send a notary to you, or you can go to one of the closing offices nearby, and most of the time we send a notary right to your house and you sign all of the papers and FedEx them back, and the seller here does the same. And closings are done what we call in escrow. This is not a table funding state. People don't sit at a table and swap keys and sign papers all on the same day. This is an escrow state, which means you sign your documents in your place, the other person signs their documents, they send them into the title company, they send money in 2 days later, and then 2 days after that, the property records and you're an owner. All right, so that's episode 1 of Relocating to Hawaii. Episode number 2 is going to be about, okay, now you own a house here, now what? Like, how do I take care of it if I'm not there? Or how do I take care of it until I move there? What do you need to know about all of that? So catch episode number 2. In the meantime, if you have any questions and you want to know about buying, selling, or investing in real estate here in Hawaii, contact us here at the Hawaii team. 808-913-0899, 808-913-0899, or thehawaiiteam.com.